Good morning. Welcome to the Minoxidant webinar series. My name is Emily Adams. I'm the Business Development Manager at Minoxidant. Today's presentation will focus on promoting FRP in industrial markets. Our presenter is Jim Wishusen. Jim is the FRP Division Manager at Minoxidant and has been with the company since 2010. A bit of housekeeping for today's webinar. In the lower left corner of your screen, we are encouraging participants to text questions to us. We will read back the questions and answers throughout the presentation in an effort to encourage dialogue. Without further ado, we will turn over the presentation to Jim.
Thank you, Emily, and good morning to you all. I appreciate you spending the time here this morning. I won't take up too much of your Friday, but I certainly do appreciate you tuning in. Most of you are familiar with FRP in the plan and spec market, and it's certainly no strange item to you at this point. A project comes out, it's some sort of ductwork, whether it be a corrosion application or an HVAC application, but there is possibly a market that you may be overlooking. Now, recently we hired a new industrial product manager. His name is Scott Vanderwall. He is traveling today, but at some point I would encourage you, if you see potential in this market, he would be the person to contact for this. So you all know Minoxidant. You may or may not know that Minoxidant is a division of a much larger company called Crawford. Rock Island, Illinois, all under the same roof, and Crawford has been around since the early 50s. And in Crawford, of course, we have the Minoxidant division, which is then divided into source capture and FRP, but you also have things you may not be aware of, such as HVAC service and install, piping, plumbing, contracting, manufacturing, laser cutting, very, very diverse company. And when you get back to the FRP division, again, these two things that you're looking at here is what you're normally used to seeing, okay? It's a ductwork job. We get requests all the time. I need a price for some from FRP duct. The first question we ask is, what's the application? Do you have specs? Okay, so all of the ductwork and all of the FRP products that we do make are built to specific standards, okay? And some of you have heard this from me before, that all FRP is the same, yet it's all different, okay? It's all the same in the sense that it's composed of a particular amount and type of glass and a particular amount and type of resin, depending on what your structural needs, your environment needs, your system needs are. You can design a custom solution, whether it be ductwork or something special. So what are we talking about? I thought this webinar was about it in industry. Well, it is. And the reason I went down memory lane there with the abilities of Crawford is that you may be overlooking something in your own backyard that could involve many divisions of Crawford. And I see that John Wallach of HD Grant is with us today. Good morning, John. And here is a project that HD Grant in Houston and Minoxidant teamed up together to do. What you're looking at are some plug and play. There's 4 of them, all right? Plug and play mist eliminators with plastic fans. If you take a look, starting with the base here, okay, the base that was designed and drafted by Minoxidant Engineering Department. The parts for it were cut by Crawford Laser Division. They were then welded and assembled by Crawford Specialty Weld Fab. Okay, the fans were sent to us by John Wallach of HD Grant. Thank you, John. And mounted to these sleds, and they were combined with this FRP mist eliminator that the Minoxidant FRP division fabricated and again mounted to these sleds. With these 4 plug-and-play units also is our regular FRP underduct product going out to various rooms where they're capturing moisture from steam cleaning operations. Okay, so I think going back in the last 6 slides, you see our point here in that if you see a potential application for FRP, there might be more in it that you can capitalize on by being aware of Crawford's many divisions. Okay, so when you do look at industrial applications, you're typically dealing with vinyl ester, and put an asterisk next to that word typically, okay? The reason that I say typically is that normally you're looking at a corrosive market where you have a factory that's producing something that is very caustic or corrosive, and vinyl ester is what is used in corrosion composites, and that is your standard approach when it comes to industry. It's very strong. Again, it's made no different than any of the FRP. It's just the resin is specifically designed to withstand specific chemicals. So you're used to seeing vinyl ester in water treatment plants and wastewater treatment plants in chemical rooms, that sort of thing. When you get to industry, though, things change a bit. Of course, you still have the ductwork. That's relevant to all uh, airflow, obviously source capture, that sort of thing. But if you take a look at the 3D representation in front of you, you see there's much more than ductwork in this fictitious building. You have tanks, you've got plating line with hoods, which obviously some of you have been source capture reps for quite a while. You know you can get stainless steel exhaust hoods, slotted fume hoods from Minoxidant. Well, you can also do that in FRP. You then are looking at a domed tank cover, which is FRP, exhaust duct, scrubber stacks, so on and so on. What I'm trying to get across is that don't overlook in industry items that may not be ductwork as and using FRP as a source or a solution. Stacks are different than duct. Ductwork are built to the standards that you saw before. Stacks also are built to those standards, but they are also designed for specific, not only applications, but conditions. You have wind load, snow load, seismic load. Stacks are a special entity that we can design for you with your engineer and fabricate as needed. Again, fume hoods, slotted fume hoods, you can do these all in FRP, and they don't have to be a standard specific size. They can be built and customized to whatever spatial needs you need. Tanks, okay, walk into a facility, you see a rotting steel tank, ask the customer what's in there, take a picture of it, get it to us. We could probably work a solution for you. Okay, scrubbers, same deal. Laboratory, we typically stay away from the hoods themselves. There are companies devoted specifically to that, but certainly the duct, there are options for laboratory, which we'll get to further down in the show. Uh, Troughs and covers, clearly not ductwork, but an FRP trough, which you'll see a case study for in a little bit, is certainly going to last much longer than a steel, even a stainless steel trough in a corrosive application. And then, of course, special shapes, sizes, dome covers, round covers, flat covers. Um, Going on to what we just briefly touched on, the hybrid duct is what we typically use in laboratories. Now, keep in mind, I keep going back and forth between ductwork and special applications. Whether it's a ductwork or a dome cover, FRP is all the same. It's all made the same way, just different types and amounts of resin and glass. So when you look at hybrid duct, you look at your interior liner, which is your vinyl ester. Remember what I said about the industrial market? It's typically a vinyl ester resin because of the corrosive nature of industry. But then on our hybrid duct, you are looking at a structural and exterior layer using the modified acrylic that we normally use in our underduct product. So You can get this product not only in ductwork shape, as it were, whether it be round or square, but you can also incorporate this type of product into industrial applications that are special shapes. I think you get the idea. So this lab duct was originally designed for Northwest University in Chicagoland area, and the reason that it was designed is that they had 5 floors of laboratories that they were putting in, that they were dealing with hydrochloric acid and sulfuric acid, and they clearly needed a vinyl ester. But Chicago obviously has an issue with fire and fire prevention. They had 5 floors of this duct going through occupied space, and they needed a class 1 duct, and the project was very limited for space, and intumescent painting adds to the cost, fire wrapping adds to the cost. Well, basically we developed this hybrid duct for that project, and it now is a standard line that we use in ductwork all the time for laboratories, for mining applications, for factory applications, anywhere where you have a corrosive need on the inside and a class 1 low smoke on the outside. Okay. The industrial side of things is something that you may or may not be looking at currently. Okay. Many of you are plan and spec reps. And many times your industrial side of things are a direct sell to the end user. Okay, so if it's something that interests you, we can work with you to help you develop that market. What it would be conversations with your engineers, conversations with your contractors. Hey guys, if you got something that may not be corroding ductwork or corrosion resistant ductwork, but it's corroding, maybe FRP is a solution for you. If you are in the industry already, I know a couple of you that are in the room are, well, if you're going through a factory, if you're going through a business and you see a tank that's rotting or you see something like a drip pan that's corroded, again, take a picture of it, talk to the owner, talk to the people there and say, what is that used for? And get it to Scott Vanderwaal, who will tell you if that's a viable application for FRP. And then we can go from there. Again, potential. Now, just to stir your imagination, all right, let's take a look at some projects that are clearly not ductwork. The first slide on the left here, these are some corrosion and abrasion resistant grit flumes for a wastewater treatment plant in Calumet, Chicagoland area, okay? If you take a look, the inside of these troughs, they're lined with carbide to handle the abrasive effluent, okay? Additionally, these stainless steel supports that you see were all designed, fabricated, and supplied by Crawford Division. Again, a team working together to get you more out of a project than you may initially think is there. Okay. The picture on the right here, this is for a company, GEA Process Systems in Louisville, Kentucky. This entire structure up here is a plenum, and it's all FRP. Okay, it's involved in the drying of CPVC powder, which generates hydrochloric acid. Clearly, they needed something that's corrosion resistant, and this plenum is made of all vinyl ester. It was originally handled by steel components, which, well, they basically went away, corroded away, and they came to us looking for a solution, and FRP certainly handled their problems. This wet precipitator here, okay, that's at Climax Molybdenum in Fort Madison, Iowa, okay. It's a wet precipitator scrubber system. It's designed to scrub sulfuric acid and ammonia used in the processing of ammonium molybdate and ammonium sulfate. Basically what this slide shows is the capacity of our factory in size. We can get up to 14 foot in diameters. The next picture here is this corrosion resistance fiberglass tank. Okay, this is at a company called Americold in Bettendorf, Iowa. It's a frozen food warehouse. Okay, and the tank holds components of the ammonia refrigeration process. Again, another team effort by Monoxavent FRP. We designed it and fabricated it to replace a failing steel tank, and Crawford personnel installed it. The last picture on this slide, I'm sure many of you have seen this, it's in many of our brochures. This is a fiberglass water wheel used to agitate mixing tanks at the Kansas City, Missouri water treatment plant. Okay, they're originally made out of wood, and they had a very short lifespan because wood and water does not last, and they were mechanically driven. They went to this different design where, again, FRP was used, and instead of mechanically driven, they were pneumatically driven, where those troughs that you see indicated by the arrow, those were injected with compressed air, causing it to rise, and basically think of a reverse water wheel. Again, FRP solution for something outside of the box. Okay, these two pictures here are of a double wall insulated trough fabricated not with vinyl ester, okay, but with our underduct resin. Again, think of what I said earlier. Typically, industry is vinyl ester. Well, here it was done with our underduct resin, and it was done that way so that they ended up with a class 1 low smoke, low flame product. Okay, these troughs carry heated pipes over 1,600 feet through this facility from building to building. They are covered with FRP insulated covers, and again, the walls of these troughs are insulated and they are embedded in concrete. Here we go again. Crawford supplied the embedment ankles, the cross supports, and the wall sleeves. Monoxavent FRP division supplied the double wall insulated troughs. This was a very nice project and something to keep in the back of your head. These two exhaust hoods here, vinyl ester FRP. This is the Ohio State University Photo Lab, excuse me, in Columbus, Ohio. They are mounted on these stainless steel supports, okay, that the exhaust hoods slide on stainless steel draw slides. And the concept here is that these big developing tanks need exhaust because of the chemicals that they use, but when they do large prints, they need these hoods to get out of the way. So we solved their problem with this combined solution where FRP was fabricated by Monoxavent. The supports were fabricated by Crawford along with the slides, and the flexos that you see here, enabling it to move, was supplied by Monoxavent as well. It's a complete package, clearly not a duct. Okay. Last on this slide is this FRP work platform. Large agriculture machine fabricating company. I was looking for some way to work on the inside of their agriculture combine hoppers when they're fabricating these machines. So we worked with them to design this lightweight but strong FRP platform that fit the bill perfectly. They now, when they need to work on the inside of these hoppers, can lower this work platform in. Clearly, it's specifically designed for this special application, but that's the whole point of industry. You're designing solutions using FRP and thinking outside the box. The last one we have here is basically a cosmetic approach. This is the Rock Island Arsenal in Rock Island, Illinois, and they were looking for some covers over 3 entry points to the historic clock tower. They featured matching color schemes and oak leaf accent design, not only on the finials you see here, but also on the supports. And once again, this combined to the many divisions of Crawford. The fiberglass cover was done by Monoxavent. The stainless steel supports and finials were not only done by the Weld Lab and the design team, but also installed by Crawford as well. I think you get the point here, okay? There are many applications for FRP other than just ductwork. Okay, now whether it's ductwork or whether it's a domed cover or whatever the project is, you still have to join it, okay? And just a quick overview on that joining procedures. You have your standard wet layup joint, okay? This has been around forever, 70, 80 years, okay? And it involves grinding the mating surfaces, butting them together, wetting out with whatever resin you're using, certain amounts of glass, and putting it on the joint and rolling out the air. Okay. What's available in industry for lead projects now is our L3 connections, okay, where VOCs are an issue. Instead of a button wrap and field joint resin setup, what we have is a male insert, okay, and there is some tape that's lightly embedded not only in the inside of the duct, but also on the outside of the male insert. When they're ready to make this joint, they remove that tape, they apply the low VOC adhesive to it, and it's slapped together. And in 45 minutes, you have a mechanically minded joint that's been destructively tested to 15 psi. Again, options for whatever the application is, whether it be industry or plan and spec. Okay, when it comes to double wall, we always supply now as standard um, an FRP alignment ring. Again, these are things that thinking outside the box, making it easier to install, whether it be industry or plan and spec. This alignment ring, we're the only ones that do supply it. And then on top of it, a wet layup joint is applied. The last one is something that is actually new. Okay, it's the SMACNA Thermoset FRP Construction Manual is about to be released with the 2016 rewrite. Terry Cahill in our office, who actually just retired yesterday, he was on the committee to rewrite the SMACNA Thermoset FRP Construction Manual, and in it, SMACNA is now devoting an entire chapter to underground duct. And this dry fit connection that you see here is one of the options that SMACNA is recommending for underground duct where water table is not an issue. So instead of doing your wet layup joints, which some people are adverse to or whatever, you have a simple metal sleeve. It's caulked with standard fire retardant duct sealant, screwed together, and then wrapped with rubber tape. Seems to make more sense to sheet metal contractors. And if this is what it takes to help you sell more FRP duct, well, it's available and will be priced out accordingly as an option. Again, this is low water table, dry applications. You wouldn't be putting this where water is an issue. Okay. And last but not least, you can't forget about the underduct product. Again, going back to John Wallach of HD Grant, his request to me originally came for just the ductwork, okay? And we quoted it in our underduct product because it is a low smoke, low flame product. And then from that simple request, it evolved into those plug and play units that you saw earlier in the presentation. Don't forget, underduct resin is the only resin on the market today that has successfully passed ASTM E84 for low smoke, low flame. It's a class 1 duct, and it doesn't have to necessarily be used in ductwork. Okay. I encourage you all to go to our site. We have a new 24-page FRP brochure, which combines all of the markets, whether it be underduct, corrosion, VE duct, and of course industrial. And you can call or email Paula Pratt and order brochures for distribution. And with that, I will end on the note that if you see something that might be a candidate for FRP, don't hesitate. Call Scott Vanderwall, email Scott Vanderwall, or myself, and we can tell you right away not only if there's a potential solution in FRP, but if you can make money on it. So I thank you for your time, and with that, I will sign off. Emily, it's all yours.
Thank you, Jim. That concludes today's webinar on promoting FRP in industrial markets. Please contact our support team for design assistance, quoting, or any other requests. Please remember our website, fiberglass-duct.com, is home to a complete catalog and various other resources. This webinar and all previous webinars are on the Minoxidant YouTube channel. These presentations are linked off of our website, fiberglass-duct.com. Click the Dig Deeper tab and click Webinars. Minoxidant's next quarterly webinar will be Friday, July 29th. The topic will focus on Minoxidant's Source Capture product line. We realize you all have busy schedules, and we genuinely appreciate the time you have spent with us. Thank you and have a great weekend.